Okay, welcome back teachers and tutors. Now let's move on to a new novel. This would be from paper 2 and it is The Great Gatsby. The whole message of this novel is whether or not money can help you buy love or happiness. So let's consider the main themes. The first theme would be the roaring 1920s. In the 1920s, it was the jazz age. There was a lot of decadence and prosperity of economic expansion. And there was easy money, hard drinking, and lavish parties. The novel focuses on the bleaker side of this revelry. And the novel also focuses on the indulgences, the hypocrisy, and the shallow recklessness, and the fatal consequences of love that has gone so fatal. And there's new money, which is vulgar and gaudy. It's also ostentatious, very showy, and lacking in social graces and taste. Gatsby lives in an ornately monstrous mansion, wears a pink suit, and drives a Rolls Royce. He does not pick up on subtle social signals, such as the insincerity of the Sloanes' invitation to lunch. In contrast, the old aristocracy possesses grace, taste, and subtlety, epitomized by the Buchanan's tasteful home and long, white, flowing dresses of Daisy and Jordan Baker. However, what the old aristocracy possesses in taste, it seems to lack in heart, as the East Eggers prove themselves callous, inconsiderate bullies who are unemotional and so used to money's ability to ease their minds that they never worry about hurting others. And the Buchanans classically exemplify this stereotype. They simply move to a new house far away from then condescend to attend Gatsby's funeral. On the contrary, Gatsby's recent wealth derives from criminal activity. He has a sincere and loyal heart. He waits under Daisy's window until 4 in the morning just to make sure that she does not get hurt and that Tom does not hurt her. And he takes the rap for Daisy killing Myrtle Wilson. In stark contrast, the Buchanan's bad qualities like fickleness and selfishness allow themselves to psychologically remove themselves from the tragedy, not only physically but also on an emotional level. Now let's look at the next theme. The next theme would be the decline of the American dream in the 1920s. This was originally a meritocratic society, from rags to riches story, and currently corrupted dream. It is all about getting rich and famous. Gatsby represents this corrupted dream, and he reinvents himself to become rich and famous. He sees money as the solution to all his problems. He is disconnected from his past reality as an orphan, and he resorts to criminal activity like bootlegging and smuggling. And the hollowness proves to be the folly of the American dream. He allows corruption, materialism to prevail over hard work, integrity, and true love. Other characters are also empty beyond their lust for money. There's disintegration of the American dream in an era of unprecedented prosperity and material excess. There's overarching cynicism, greed, and empty pursuit of pleasure. There's reckless jubilance that led to opulent parties that Gatsby throws every Saturday night. There's the corruption of the American dream. Unrestrained desire for money and pleasure surpass more noble goals. Families with old money scorn the newly rich industrialists. Mayor Wolfsham and Gatsby's fortune symbolize the rise of organized crime and bootlegging. Gatsby's dream of loving Daisy is ruined by the difference in their social class. While she belongs to the old money crowd, he belongs to the new money crowd. And old money crowd tends to look down on new money crowd. Gatsby's resorting to crime to make enough money to impress her. There's rampant materialism that characterizes Daisy's lifestyle. Gatsby instills Daisy with a kind of idealized perfection that she neither deserves nor possesses. Gatsby's dream is ruined by the unworthiness of its object, money and pleasure. Like 1920s, Americans who fruitlessly seek a bygone era in which their dreams had value, Gatsby longs to recreate a vanished past. His time in Louisville with Daisy, but he's incapable of doing this. When his dream crumbles, all that is left for Gatsby to do is to die, whereas all Nick can do is to move back to Minnesota, where American values have not yet decayed. Now let's consider the theme of class. There's the old money crowd, the new money crowd, and then the no money crowd. Old money is represented by Tom and Daisy Buchanan. These are generations of rich and powerful and influential families who hide their wealth beneath the veneer of civility. And then we have the new money crowd, who is symbolized by Gatsby, the newly rich industrialists, or the newly rich bootlegging people who overcompensate for lack of powerful connections with lavish displays of wealth. And then there's the no money crowd, which is represented by George and Myrtle Wilson. There's also class rivalry between the old money versus the new money crowds. There's also the struggle between Gatsby and Tom over Daisy. But it's ironic that Daisy picks the old money crowd where she's feeling more comfortable. There's a lot of affluence, a lot of rampant materialism, so that she can live a lavish lifestyle. She does not pick Gatsby, she does not pick love over money. She picks money over love. And there's also the theme of past versus future. Gatsby has dedicated its entire life to recreating the lost or vanished past, his time in Louisville with Daisy. But unfortunately, when he mentions this to Nick, Nick says you can't recreate the past. Money will not allow you to do it. But Gatsby says, why not? Money can help me recreate the past, my time with Daisy. So in a very real sense, he will become disillusioned, and he is disillusioned. Okay, welcome back, teachers and tutors. Now let's consider the symbols. There are several symbols in the Great Gatsby, and let's consider each one of them one by one. The first symbol would be that of the green lights. It symbolizes Gatsby's quest for Daisy, which is associated with the American dream, and the green light also symbolizes the more generalized ideal. It's a symbol of Gatsby's hopes and dreams. It's also the physical and emotional distance between him and Daisy, the gap between the past and the present. The future, the promise of the future, and the powerful lure of money. Now let's consider the next symbol. The eyes of Dr. T.J. Ecclesburg. These appear on the billboard overlooking the Valley of Ashes and the haunting waste of the past. They represent the eyes of God, which oversees everything. And then we have the symbol of the Valley of Ashes. This represents the industrial wasteland covered in ash and soot, which is situated at the end of Daisy's East Egg dock and barely visible from Gatsby's West Egg lawn. It's between the West Egg and New York City. It symbolizes the plight of the lower working class folk, such as George Wilson, who lived there, and the dismal ruin of the people caught in between the old money versus the new money crowd. And New York City represents all the mystery and beauty of the world. And the West Egg represents the people who have gotten rich recently and quickly, the new money crowd. And then we have the symbol of the East versus West. The East Egg represents the old aristocracy, the old money. And West Egg represents the newly rich. The Valley of Ashes represents the moral and social decay of America. And New York City represents the uninhibited, amoral quest for money and pleasure. East is connected to the moral decay and social cynicism of New York City. West is connected to more traditional social and moral values and ideals. Let's consider the last symbol, that of Gatsby's mansion. Gatsby's mansion, when you consider the grandness and emptiness of the 1920s boom, Gatsby justifies living in it all alone by filling it weekly with celebrated people. It's the physical symbol of Gatsby's love for Daisy. And Gatsby used his new money to create a place that he thought rivaled the houses of the old money, such as Tom Buchanan's mansion that had taken her away. Okay, welcome back, teachers and tutors. Now let's continue with the character analysis of the Great Gatsby. One of the protagonists of the novel is J. Gatsby. He's a young 30-year-old man. He had an impoverished background. He was born into a very impoverished childhood in North Dakota, but he became fabulously rich by the end of the novel. And he has an organized crime distributing illegal alcohol, despised poverty and longed for wealth and sophistication. He fell in love with Daisy Buchanan's grace, charm, and luxury. And he lied about his own social background to convince her that he was indeed good enough for her. And Daisy married the wealthy Tom Buchanan. Gatsby returns to woo her back. There's the technique of delayed character revelation to emphasize the theatrical quality of Gatsby's life. He has changed his name from James Gads to J. Gatsby. And he reinvents himself, he creates a character for himself. He has an extraordinary ability to transform his hopes and dreams into reality. There's the self-invention which gives him greatness. And the title, The Great Gatsby, is reminiscent of billings for such magicians such as the Great Houdini and the Great Blackstone, suggesting that the persona of the Great J. Gatsby is a masterful illusion. Okay, welcome back, teachers and tutors. Now let's continue with the character analysis of the Great Gatsby. Let's consider the character of Daisy Buchanan. Daisy Buchanan is a beautiful young woman. She's the object of Gatsby's love. She made love with Gatsby before he left for war. And she promised to wait for him, but she marries Tom Buchanan because he belongs to the old money crowd and he has the support of her parents. Tom Buchanan was wealthy and had made it in the affluent world. But unfortunately, he is not the love object of Daisy. But nonetheless, she feels that she could love him because he has money. So this reveals the superficiality and materialistic nature of Daisy. And Nick characterizes Daisy as a callous person who smashes things up and retreats behind her money. To Gatsby, Daisy represents the paragon of perfection, an aura of charm, wealth, and sophistication, the grace and aristocracy that Gatsby himself longed for as a child. In reality, however, Daisy falls short of Gatsby's expectations of her. She's fickle, shallow, bored, and sardonic. Daisy proves her real nature when she chooses Tom over Gatsby in Chapter 7, that allows Gatsby to take the blame for the manslaughter of Myrtle Wilson, even though she was driving the car and Gatsby was in the passenger seat. Finally, rather than attend Gatsby's funeral, Daisy and Tom move away, leaving no forwarding address. And Daisy is indifferent to her own infant daughter, never discussing her and treating her as an afterthought when she's introduced in Chapter 7. In Fitzgerald's conception of America in the 1920s, Daisy represents the amoral values of the aristocratic East Egg set. And she refers to her own infant daughter as, "I wish she would be a beautiful little fool. That would be the best thing that a woman can be." So in other words, it reveals her to be very superficial. She perceives women to be merely love objects or objects of admiration for their physical beauty. She does not see them as having a mind on their own or having some reasoning faculties, anything beyond mere outer charm. Okay, welcome back, teachers and tutors. Let's continue with the character analysis of the Great Gatsby. Let's look at Nick Carraway. He's the narrator of the novel. He is a quiet, reflective Midwesterner adrift in the lurid East. He's a young man from Minnesota. Nick travels to New York City in 1922 to learn the bond business. Lives in West Egg of Long Island, next door to Gatsby. He's Daisy's cousin. Enables him to observe and assist the resurgent love affair between Daisy and Gatsby. He's the perfect choice of narrator. He's tolerant, open-minded, and a good listener of Gatsby's confidences. He evidences a strongly mixed reaction to life on the East Coast, with a powerful internal conflict that he does not resolve until the end of the book. He's conflicted and ambivalent. Nick is attracted to the fast-paced, fun-driven lifestyle of New York City. On the other hand, Nick finds that lifestyle grotesque and damaging. This inner conflict is symbolized by Nick's romantic affair with Jordan Baker. He's attracted to her vivacity and her sophistication, just as he's repelled by her dishonesty and a lack of consideration for other people. Nick states that there's a quality of distortion to live in New York City, and this lifestyle makes him lose his equilibrium when he gets drunk at Gatsby's party in Chapter 2. After witnessing the unraveling of Gatsby's dream and presiding over the appalling spectacle of Gatsby's funeral, Nick realizes that the life of revelry of the East Coast is a cover for the terrifying moral emptiness that the Valley of Ashes symbolizes. Having realized this, he returns to Minnesota in search of a quieter life structured on more traditional moral values.